What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we are very close to the release of OP-10 Royal Blood. It is coming very shortly indeed. I can find it's actually coming out in like 3 weeks, but still, it's coming out in 3 weeks. It's going to be awesome. But as I always tell you, lovely ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to play the game, you need to know the rules. And that is where I come in. We've had the official English FAQ posted for OP-10. So let's get rolling and let's start having a look with Sugar. Obviously, I'm talking about leader Sugar here. So what we've got here is, on your opponent's turn, once per turn, when you activate an event, add up to one Don card from your Don deck and set it to active. Well, during my opponent's turn, I activate the 0 cost counter of Bad Manners Kit Course. I choose not to trash a card from my hand. Can I still use the effect? Yeah. You still activated the card, even though you haven't done everything you could have done. If I activate an event's trigger during my opponent's turn, can I do this? No, because trigger is not the same as actually playing the card. That doesn't count. Now, there's also an end of your turn. If you have a Donquixote Pirates character with 6,000 power or more, set one of your Don to active. Well, what happens at the end of your turn? Because at the end of your turn, the power goes back to normal. So if you've only got a boosted character with 6,000 or more, does that still count? Yes, it does. This activates. Then the power returns to normal. But by that point, you've already activated the skill. So you are good to go. Now, Scotch comes around in this set with a rather lovely skill, whereby if you don't have a rock when you play this, you can play a rock from your hand. And then Rock's got a skill, whereby when you play this, if you don't have a Scotch, you can play a Scotch from your hand. They do the same kind of thing. So, when I play Rock, I had 4 characters that were neither Rock nor Scotch, activated its on play effect, and then I trash Rock to play Scotch. Can I then use that Scotch effect to play Rock? Yeah. Because you're trashing the characters. At the moment you go to play, you don't have one in play, so it totally works. Now, Brownbeard, when attacking, if you've got one or fewer characters with 6,000 power or more, you gain an extra 1,000 power. Well, if this is the only character I have with 6,000 or more, and the 6,000 is a result of Don cards I've added in, do I still get the extra power? Yeah, of course. No reason why it shouldn't. Now, the new Monet is a very good card, which is seeing a bunch of play in Japan. Activate main, rest this character, and you give 2 rested Don cards to your leader, or one of your characters, and then a minus 1,000 to one of your opponent's characters. Well, if I cannot use this to give 2 rested Don, because I don't have 2 rested Don, can I still do minus 1,000 power? Yes. Remember the rule. Anything in bold before the colon has to be done to activate the rest of the skill, but then it's just do as much as you can. And then exactly the same the other way round. If you cannot use this to give minus 1,000 power, because there's nothing to give minus 1,000 power to, can you still give the 2 rested Don? Yeah, same deal. Now, Leader Law's got Don X1 activate main once per turn. If the total cost of your characters is 5 or more, return a character to the owner's hand, and then reveal a card from the top of your life. If it's a 5 cost or less Supernova, you can play it. Well, what if the total cost of my characters is 4 or less? Can I still return one of my characters to my hand? No, because it's not 5 or more. What happens if I reveal the top card of my life and it's not a Supernova with a cost of 5 or less? Nothing. You put that card back on top of your deck and you go on with your life. Now, Kinemon's got an activate main that lets you place this character and a Kinemon with 0 power for you to trash to the bottom of your deck in any order to play a Kinemon with a cost of 6 from your hand. Well, can I use this to place 2 Kinemon cards from my trash to the bottom of my deck? No. If you want to play a 6 cost from your hand, you may place this Kinemon from your field and one from your trash to the bottom of your deck. The card doesn't say you can put 2 from your trash to the bottom of your deck. It has to be this plus 1 from your trash. That's important. Now we have a new smoker here, but it looks suspiciously like Tashigi, and it's another card which we're seeing a bunch of play. Activate main, set one of your Don cards as active, and then you cannot set Don cards active using character effects during this turn. Well, okay. Can I use the effect on my leader Smoker to set 2 of my Don cards to active? Yes, obviously, because it's a leader. Can I use the activate main of Urouge to set one of my Don cards to active at the end of the turn? No, because it's still in the turn, so unfortunately, that's not going to count. Now, as well as a Smoker that looks like Tashigi, we also have a Tashigi that looks a lot like a Smoker. If you have a green character other than Tashigi that would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may rest this character instead. Well, if I've got a green character that would be removed from the field by my opponent's effect, but this character is already rested, can I use this? No! You need to rest the character to use the skill. It's already rested, so therefore you cannot rest it. If both this and the green character are both going to be KO'd at the same time, what happens? Well, you can essentially rest this to save the other one, and then this then goes away. Tashigi will still be KO'd, but your other character will be saved. Yay! Now, Radio Knife is a green event. It's got an activate main to rest one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less, and then KO a rested character with a cost of 5 or more. Can you do that to the same character, so you rest and then KO the same one? Yeah, of course you can. There is no reason why you wouldn't be able to. Now, Usopp is one of the most exciting characters from this new set, or leaders at least, and it says that once per turn, when your Dressrosa character is removed from the field by your opponent's effect or KO'd, and you got 5 or fewer cards in hand, draw one. Okay. Well, if one of my Dressrosa characters has an on-KO effect, and is KO'd during my opponent's turn, does this card's effect activate first, or does the character's on-KO effect activate first? What you do is you activate the card's on-KO effect and this leader's effect in any order you choose. Obviously, would be very relevant if the KO effect draws cards, because if you drew cards to put you over 5, then Usopp would no longer work. But it's your skills that are activating. You get to choose the order in which they happen. If one of my Dressrosa characters is KO'd by my opponent's attack, can I draw a card? Yes, because it's on my opponent's turn they get KO'd. Nice and simple. Now, coming along with all the Dressrosa stuff, there is a new Sabo, and if your character with a base cost of 7 or less, other than Sabo, would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may return this character to the owner's hand instead. Well, what if this character and another of my characters with a base cost of 7 or less are both KO'd at the same time? Can I use this to return the character to my hand before this gets KO'd? Yes. Very similar ruling, of course, to what we just saw a second ago. Now, Leo comes along. On play, lets you rest your leader or one of your stage. And if your leader is Usopp, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, find 2 Dressrosa cards that aren't Leo, whack them in your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order and trash a card from your hand. What happens if you don't take 2 cards? Do you still need to trash a card from your hand? Yes. No matter how many you take, you've used the skill, therefore any untaken cards will go to the bottom of your deck, and you will have to trash a card from your hand. Now, Rebecca's back as a super rare with a phenomenal skill. On play, if there is a character with a cost of 8 or more, you draw a card. Then you reveal 2 Dressrosa cards with a cost of 7 or less other than Rebecca from your hand. One gets played, and the other gets played rested as long as it's got a cost of 4 or less. Okay. What if I reveal 1 Dressrosa card of a cost of 4? Will it be played rested? No. The first card gets played active, the second card gets played rested. That's how the skill works. If I use this on-play effect to play character A active and character B rested, can I choose the order in which to activate their on-play effects? Yes. So even though technically you play the first one active and the second one rested, they still get played at the same time as far as the game is concerned, and because they're played at the same time, you have a choice as to the order in which you activate their on-play skills. If I played this character, causing my number of characters to become 4, including this character, and then use the on-play effect to play character A as active, and then trash character A to play character B rested, can I activate the on-play effect of character A? No. Essentially, A and B are played at the same time, then you go and have a look at any on-play effects, and by the time you look at the on-play effects, unfortunately, character A's already gone. You don't get that skill. Now we have a new Senor Pink, if anyone's interested, over in purple. On play, Don -1, add a purple event of a cost of 5 or less from your trash to your hand, and then set one of your Don cards to active. Okay. If I don't take a purple event, can I still set one of my Don to active? Yeah, this is the classic, you have to Don -1, but then after that you do what you can. Now Fighting Fish comes around here, love Fighting Fish. Don X1 when attacking, Don -1, KO an opponent's character of a cost of 1 or less. Well, let's say I attack with this character while it had a Don, but then you Don minus that Don, causing the number of Don cards on this character to become 0. Do I still get to KO a character of a cost of 1 or less? No. You got Don on there, you Don -1, then you use the skill. So you Don -1, oh, but I don't have Don X1 anymore, so the skill doesn't activate. When you actually go to see the skill, you don't have Don X1, so it unfortunately doesn't work. Sorry about that. Now, Trebol's got a skill whereby on play, all of your characters with 1000 base power or less cannot be KO'd by your opponent's effects until the end of your opponent's next turn. Okay, so I activate this when I had Bon Kurei Bentham on my field, and then the when attacking effect of Bon Kurei Bentham causes its base power to become 2000 or more during the same turn. Can it be KO'd by my opponent's effects? No. When you play Trebol, that gives a protection to Bon Kurei Bentham. If your power then goes up, that's fine. You've already been given the protection until the end of your opponent's next turn, and it will not be taken away. Another super rare coming in the new set is Donquixote Doflamingo. And here we got ourselves on your opponent's attack once per turn, rest one of your Don to add a Don card from your Don deck and set it active. So what happens if I've got 2 of this on my field, 1 active Don and 2 cards in my Don deck? Can I just rest 1 Don to activate both characters? Yeah, absolutely. And this has been the case for a while. Essentially, they both activate at the same time, they both work, jobs are good 'un. Rest 1 Don, activate both skills. We've got ourselves a Tony Chopper here. And this has got an activate main, rest this character and your Dressrosa leader or stage. If your opponent's got 5 or more cards in hand, they trash 1, and then you trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. Well, if my opponent's got 4 or fewer cards in hand, can I still trash 2 cards from the top of my deck? No. Because it says, then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck, so it means that the second is dependent on the first. Normally, anything after the colon is just do what you can, but this says then trash 2 cards. That's the difference. Speaking of Straw Hats, we've got a new Brook coming in here. And again, you rest this character and your Dressrosa leader or stage, KO one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less, and then trash 2 cards from the top of your deck. And the question here is just like it is with Tony Chopper. If I don't KO a character, can I still trash 2 cards from the top of my deck? Yes. Even though it's worded in the same way as Tony Chopper with then do this. Yeah. Sorry about that. This seems a little bit out of whack, these 2 cards. They don't seem to, well, they seem to be phrased exactly the same and yet work slightly differently. So my advice would be learn how they work and remember it, because it is a little bit inconsistent and that's a pain. We've got Roanoa Zoro on play. Rest your Dressrosa leader or stage to KO one of your opponent's characters of a cost of 4 or less, and then trash 2 cards on the top of your deck. Can I trash 2 cards on the top of my deck without KOing a character? Same question as Brooke, same answer. So if you have to KO a character, you don't have to, you can still just trash. But if you're trashing cards in your opponent's hand, apparently that has to be done. Gum Gum Rhino Schneider has got a main up to one of your Dressrosa characters, gets a 2k bump, and then if you've got 10 or more cards in your trash, that card gains banish. Well, what if I've got 9 cards before I play this card? Well, you've got 9, you play this card, then you look, oh, there are 10 cards in my trash. This card gets played and put in the trash, and then it activates, so it will be the 10th card in your trash, and jobs are good 'un. Now, Liberation is another black event here, and we have a trigger that negates the effect of up to one of each of your opponent's leader and character cards during this turn. Well, can I negate the under the rules of this game you may have any number of cards in your deck? I mean, technically, yes, but it doesn't do anything. Like, technically, you can stop your opponent having more than 4 of a card in the deck, but the problem is it doesn't actually do anything, presumably because the deck is private information and you can't check. Sorry about this. What if I use this to turn off Nami's leader effect on the turn that they are reduced to 0 cards in the deck, which would usually be their win condition? Yeah, they lose. Nami loses the whole when you run out of cards, you win the game, so they lose the game. Sorry. If a character is KO'd while affected by this trigger effect that stops their effects, can their on-KO effects activate? No. Their effects are gone, including on-KO. Can it negate effects on the chosen card that were granted by other cards? No. So it negates the effects of that card, but any other cards that grant effects to them, they still remain, because it's not actually negating the card. That's a different thing. Now, Captain Eustace Kidd is a leader, and at the end of your turn, you can turn a card from the top of your life face up to set a Supernova with a cost of between 3 and 8 to active and gain blocker. Okay. Can you just give an active Supernova blocker? Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely fine. You obviously don't set them to active because they're already active, but you can give them blocker. Now, Inazuma here's got a trigger that if your leader is Revolutionary Army and you and your opponent have a total of 5 or less life, play this card. Okay. Well, what about including this card? No. Again, you take the card out of your life, then the trigger activates, then you count up the life. So if you've got 3 and your opponent's got 3, Inazuma comes out as a trigger, and then you look and you've got 2 and your opponent's got 3, that's 5 or less, you're good to go. Emporio Ivankov's got an activate main, up to 3 of your Revolutionary Army characters gain 1,000 power during this turn, then you add a card from the top of your life to your hand. Well, if I've got no life, can I still use this? Yes. You give the extra power, then you have a look and you go, oh, there is no life, never mind, I don't need to add one. Now, Heat and Wire come in as a nice little dual character here. Only real difference is you get the 2 traits in the top right-hand corner. And we've got ourselves a trigger. If you have 2 or less life, play this card. Same thing as we saw before. First you take this, then you count the life. So if you've got 3 life and then this comes out, trigger comes out, then you look at the life. Okay, job's a good one, you've only got 2. Damned punk is actually an event card. And we got a main here that you look at a card on the top of your opponent's life, put it at the top or bottom of their life, and then KO a 5 cost or less. Well, if there is no life to look at, can I still KO? Yeah. And again, the general rule, and it doesn't really work with Chopper, but the general rule is you do what you can. There's no life, never mind. But I can KO a 5 cost, so let's go ahead and do it. Well, can I use this to look at a face-up card in mine or my opponent's life, and then still KO a character of a cost of 5 or less? Yeah, absolutely. It will remain face-up when you put it at the top or bottom of the life, that's fine. But otherwise, yeah, job's a good one. You're happy. Now, there's a new Luffy in yellow, but it's a secret rare. We're into the secret rares now. And what Luffy does here is we've got a skill whereby once during your turn, it cannot be KO'd by opponent's effects. Well, when it's KO'd by an opponent's effect for the first time, can I choose to allow it to be KO'd? No. It says once per turn, this character cannot be KO'd. It's not an optional thing. Sorry about that. We've then got when attacking, you may place 3 cards in your trash at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then if your opponent's got 5 or more cards in hand, they trash 1. Well, if my opponent's got 4 or less cards, can I still use this to put 3 cards in the trash at the bottom of your deck in any order? Yeah. Remember, anything in bold before the colon goes, and then you look at the rest of the skill. So you put 3 cards in the trash at the bottom of your deck, and then you go, oh, can't do the rest. Never mind. Now, Trafalgar Law has got a skill whereby on play you reveal a Supernova character from your hand, add it to the top of your life face down, and then you give a rested Dawn to your Supernova leader. Well, if my leader isn't Supernova, can I still use this to put a Supernova character from my hand to the top of my life? You know this at this point. General rule is yeah, absolutely, go for it. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these. Tell me if the Chopper thing seems a little inconsistent to you. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Goodness, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.